Hello. Do you know that once there was a young man who knew a lot about televisions and videos and all the technical things. And his name was Choo-Choo. And because he was a TV fixer, he could fix things up. His name was TV Fixer Choo-Choo. And you know, he had quite a bit of technical knowledge, and he knew nearly as much about TVs and videos as his Uncle Robert. Now, a few hundred yards away from where Choo-Choo lived, there was a school, and one day the teacher wanted to show the pupils at school a history program on television. So there it is. So the teacher they had the TV on the trolley, they'd wheeled it in, and she'd switched it on. It was all plugged in and switched on, and she was ready to go to show this history program to a class, but nothing happened. She said, "Oh dear, we've got no television. What can we do?" And then one of the boys, he said, "Well, I've got a friend, and his name is TV Fixer Choo-Choo, and there's a good chance he should be able to fix that TV." So the teacher said, "Well, great." She says, "Is he any good?" The boy said, "Yes. Do you know, he knows nearly as much about TVs and videos as his Uncle Robert." So the teacher said, "Okay, well, let's just give him a call, see if he's free, if he can come over." And then, so about 10 minutes later, TV Fixer Choo-Choo arrived in the school, and then he went in just to the room where the teacher was with all the pupils, and he'd brought with him a yellow box with all his electrics, because he kept his electrics in a yellow box with plugs and switches. And so the teacher said, "Well, I hear that you're quite knowledgeable on TVs, and maybe you can fix our television." And he said, "Oh yes," he says, "I know nearly as much about TVs and videos as Uncle Robert." Then the teacher said, "What? Do you really know nearly as much about TVs and videos as Uncle Robert?" And he said, "Yes." We said, "Maybe in that case, since you know nearly as much about TVs and videos as your Uncle Robert, maybe you'd better get to work fixing our television." And then what happened? One of the boys in the class, because the class enjoyed singing, he went to the front of the class and he started conducting. And then the rest of the class, they started singing this song, "TV Fixer Choo-Choo, TV Fixer Choo-Choo, TV Fixer Choo-Choo, knows nearly as much as his Uncle Robert." So there was TV Fixer Choo-Choo, and he still had his yellow box with all his electrics. And the class had a nice sing. So Choo-Choo thought, "Well, okay, let's get to work then. I'll go and see if I can fix your TV then." So what they did was, obviously for safety, they unplugged the TV and switched it off. And then Choo-Choo took the back off the television, and then he had a look and he said, "Well, I think it's a couple of your valves have gone. So I think I'll need to replace 2 valves." So he looked in his yellow box. It had all plugs and switches and all electrics, but it had 2 valves as well. So he went and replaced the valves in the television. And then he put the back on, and then he sort of plugged it in. And he said, "Well, just to make sure things are okay, I'll just switch it on first. I'll just see what it's like just for tuning and everything, just while I'm here." So he went, so it was all plugged in and he switched it on. But then what happened? When he switched it on, the TV, it went boom. And then a whole lot of smoke came out. And look at Choo-Choo, it's all covered in smoke. And then I look at the class, they were laughing. And then the teacher said, "Well, Choo-Choo, I thought you knew nearly as much about TVs and videos as your Uncle Robert. Why has this all happened?" And Choo-Choo said, well, it's true, I do know nearly as much about TVs and videos as Uncle Robert. But Uncle Robert doesn't know anything at all about TVs and videos. So, hope you enjoyed that story about TV Fixer Choo-Choo, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.